Hello, and welcome to today's video. This is going to be very different than what we're used to. Today, we are going to be reviewing a car that is terrible. Right, so, you've seen us on this channel many times, and we are in our cars all the time. When we travel, we take my truck, Sharon's car, whatever we're going to take, and we travel all the way. Today we traveled to upstate New York, and instead of driving, we decided to fly, rent a car, do what we have to do, and go home. Unfortunately for me, the car we rented is this. This is a 2018 Buick Encore. And my God, this car is hateful. First thing you're going to notice on this car is the styling. There isn't any. There is no styling whatsoever. Somebody took a bubble, threw it on some wheels. Moving to the back, it just doesn't look good. Whoever styled this car was blind. One thing you want when you're doing a car like this is you want trunk space. That's it. You get more trunk space in a Toyota Camry. We should have had a Camry, maybe. You get more trunk space in. This thing feels cheap. And it does that when you're going down the road in the highway. Don't worry, it has no speed, so you're not actually going to get to any speed where this is going to become a real issue. It's just annoying because you hear it. Alright, maybe the interior has some redeeming qualities, yeah? I wouldn't know. I'm 6'4". Sharon is 6'0". We're tall people, so yes, we have to make some concessions. But I wouldn't necessarily consider us wide people, and there are many wide people in the world. Here's my biggest problem. In order for me to drive, I have to have the seat in a place where I can fit in the car. If you look at my head, yeah, I'm pretty close to that roof there. I'm hitting it over here. And the seat doesn't go down any further. This is as far down as the seat will go. First thing you do when you get in the car is put your seatbelt on. Problem is, my shoulder is touching the A-pillar of the car. So in order to get the seatbelt on, you have to get uncomfortably close to your passenger to be able to get it. Now I put the seatbelt on over here, which is not, if I was wider, this would be a problem. This is the driver's view. It's standard, nothing spectacular. It's exactly what you'd expect from a car like this, so no negative points there. But there's also no positive points. My high country pickup truck has a pretty good interior. Why my wife is cutting the top of my head off is because there's no freaking way for me to not have my head cut off. It does have a sunroof. But that's the only thing that's good about it. Maybe driving it will be better. Time for some facts and figures. If you're having a hard time hearing me, that's because we're actually at highway speed, and I've been driving this car for a little bit, and it's loud in here. So, it's 2018 Buick Encore. MSRP base price was $24,000. Yes, that's right, same base price as a Honda CR-V of the same year. The car has a 138 horsepower engine, but weighs 4,400 pounds curb weight. Before any passengers or anything else in it, it weighs 4,400 pounds. That is more than Sharon's Cadillac CTS-V. That is more than a Hyundai Elantra. And the Elantra has more power. Some things that we've noticed now, it is loud in here. Right now I am doing 65 miles an hour, which is the speed limit on this particular road. It took me a little while to get to 65 miles an hour because 138 horsepower engine and 4,400 pounds worth of car to move. I can't find a comfortable driving position. So my shoulder is now locked against the B-pillar here, as we've stated before. Normally I'd put my arm up here, but the B-pillar is digging into my arm. So now my arm's got to be down here. Well, I can't really get to this area of the steering wheel with this arm without something over here digging into it. So I could either shift myself in the seat or not. This arm is either going to be pushing my shoulder up, as you can see, or hanging down limply by my side when the meager armrest that's maybe 2 inches wide is out of the way, which takes some force to get there. The pedals are definitely too close this way, and there's no way to adjust them. The steering wheel, while it does have tilt steering, manually operated, does not have telescopic steering. So your arms have to be the same length as your legs. Mine are not.
Sorry.
So my leg is now bent at an angle, which is now blocking all of the auxiliary stuff, which is down here, and I can't really get to because, you know, I have a leg. You know, people with a leg will do that. Next thing, fuel economy. I know what you're saying. It's a cheap car, it's an economical car, that's why you have it. But it's not. Listed fuel economy for this car is 28 city, 31 highway. We have done nothing but highway driving, and even the average fuel economy on the car is telling me 26 miles per gallon. I can get something that's a lot nicer that does 26 miles per gallon. Drove for a little bit, still don't like it. We'll get into that later. But here we have the biggest problem with this car. Here it is, next to a Hyundai Santa Fe. Relatively similar car. Look at the roof line of the two. I'll stand between them. Taller, but sits lower to the ground. Why? It's a better car. Not to mention the fact that the bumpers are just about even. The mirrors are dead even because I parked them that way. Let's take a walk to the back. And there you have it. The Hyundai is longer. What does that equate to? More trunk space. All right. Here's something else we've noticed. 60 miles an hour. We're on a road that does 65 miles an hour. So if you want to pass somebody, you're going to put your foot down and you're going to change lanes. Here's what happens if you put your foot down at 60 miles an hour. Foot's already down. We're going to get there. That was 60 to 70 miles an hour in almost 10 seconds. Passing will take patience. So I figured out why the fuel mileage is so terrible. To maintain 70 miles an hour, the transmission has shifted 3 gears, going up a 1% grade. I know it's a 1% grade because there were no signs telling me what the grade was, and it just seems slightly uphill. This transmission is shifting more than a politician shifts his views on foreign policy. The steering. I don't know if the steering wheel is actually connected to anything that's connected to the front wheels. You can move it, as you can see I'm moving it, and the camera's not really moving a whole lot. 23 toward Diamond Point Road. The steering wheel is about as responsive as a coma patient. Alright, and now we're doing the thing this car hates the most. Starting from a standstill. If you don't have any stop signs or stoplights in the places that you drive, you'll be okay. Unfortunately for me, we're at a stop sign. We're going to try to get to the speed limit, which is 45 miles an hour. Here we go.
In 1,000 feet, turn right onto US 9 North.
Still going. Not the speed limit yet.
Turn right onto US 9 North.
That's it. 45 miles an hour. It took 5 gears to get there. And a lot of road. We're about to be going up hills. I don't think this is going to go very well for us. 4 miles. Look at this. It's a yield, and I got the steering wheel turned halfway to. What were they thinking? What is this steering wheel actually connected to? So we're here on the side of the road for 2 reasons. One, so you can actually hear me, because it's quieter here on the side of the road than it is on the road in the car. And 2, I've been trying to figure out just how to adequately explain the seat, and I just figured it out. Perfect. And it's not just that the seat bottom is hard. These seat bolsters, which you can kind of see, they're back here. They're digging in to the back of my shoulder blade and the whole back thing over here. They're kind of sitting there, and I'm sitting on 2 rails. Like I'm laying down on train tracks. It's not a seat that, encompasses you and it covers you. And I'm not very fat, but this seat's just too small. Who are they putting on this seat? I'm not fat, but I guarantee you, even Natalie Portman would have a problem in this seat. I know I'm a big human being and the seat's made for small people, but I really feel that Angelina Jolie would have a problem with these seats. Better? I understand I'm a big human being, but even Kate Moss isn't going to fit in this seat, okay? Well, we're on a road that's got some twists and turns now, a country lane, as many people may have. And I will say that because it's a 4x4 or an all-wheel drive, and they've raised the suspension up, it rolls around through turns kind of like a dog that's gotten into your special gummy bears. I've been looking for some redeeming qualities of this thing, and they're not there. They're not right out in front of you. Yes, it does have power windows. Yes, it does have power mirrors. Yes, it does have an electric sunroof. It does have seat belts. It has a push-button start-stop. And I turned on the radio, and the sound was not bad. It wasn't great. It's not, your top-of-the-line stereo, so you're not going to get a perfect sound. It's from 2018, so it is what it is. The only problem is that from where I'm sitting, I can't hear anything out of the back speakers. I'm sure they're working, but it seems like the equalizer just doesn't have it set up right for somebody that's sitting in the middle of the car driving. And I'd love to adjust it on the equalizer, but the stupid screen is just so damn complicated, I can't even find if there is an equalizer on the stereo system. It's just too complicated. There's too many buttons and too many touch screens, and no matter what you touch, it does not correlate with anything that's on the screen. I can touch media, and you would think you're going to get media, but no, you touch media and it brings up Sirius XM radio. That's not media. Media would be the Bluetooth connection to the cell phone, which that was fun. As soon as you try to turn the Bluetooth connection of the cell phone up, you get a beeping sound that is as high as the radio will go. So wear ear protection when you're going to do that. The dashboard is 8.5 feet long. I feel like I'm sitting at the very front of the car, but I know I'm not because there's 8 feet of dashboard and there should be a hood out there somewhere, but all I can see is a little stupid white ridge. Looks like I have a Klingon's face on the front of my car. I know what you're going to say. This is not a car manufactured by GM because it was made in Korea. And you're correct. It is made by GM's Korea division. But you also have to remember that Korea is where Hyundai and Kia come from. And they've made some truly great cars. The Hyundai Elantra. It's very affordable, cheap motoring, but you don't have to sacrifice the world to get it. The Kia Cadenza. Kia Cadenza is a fantastic luxury car for half the price of other luxury cars that are very similar to it. The Hyundai Santa Fe, the Hyundai Palisade. They are great cars. This is not one of them. So we were just going up a small hill, still not big enough to have a gradient sign, and the car had to sit at 4,500 RPM just to maintain 60 miles an hour up the hill. There is just, I don't know if it's a gearing issue with the transmission. I don't know if it's just way too underpowered for the weight. But in order to get this car to stay at highway speed up any grade, you gotta rev the nuts off of this thing. Okay, and here's something else. The back seat. There is no room for a human being in the back seat of this car. Victoria, you want to step out of the car for me for a second? My sister. Okay. It's okay. So, had no room. Head was all the way up there as our spine. And Victoria, how tall are you?
5'1".
5'1". She's not even 5'2" and does not fit in the back seat of this thing. Now that we're coming to the end of our journey, or end of our trip here with this car, we're on our way back to drop it off. There are one or two things that I have found that have actually started to grow on me. First up, the air conditioning does work well. The controls are very rudimentary, but they do work pretty well. So that there's a point there that the air conditioning does actually work well. The stereo is not the worst stereo I've heard in my life. It's actually okay. Again, equalizer could stand to be played with a little bit, but we'll gloss over that. Bluetooth the phone to the stereo, extremely easy process. I've been in many cars where it's not an easy process. This one's very easy, and that's probably the Chevrolet thing. The car does have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, or MyPlay, whatever it's called, the Apple. So there's a couple of points there. So it's not all terrible. But I will say that there are many cars that have that aren't this terrible in this price range. It does have driver passenger airbags, no side curtain airbags from what I can tell. Doesn't matter. Anything you hit in this, you're probably going to be annihilated anyway. Alright, so in short, we're all done. We put about 400 miles on this thing, so we got a pretty good idea of what it's all about. Don't like it, don't recommend it. Will say that if at any point you go to a rental car agency and they tell you, we're going to give you a Buick Encore, just walk away.